yet another episode of Defeasible Reasoning. Today, I am joined by Sam, soon not to be, Gignac. Did I get that right?
You did.
All right, and as ever, the intrepid Noah Smith.
Hello. I don't know if intrepid is a great description, but I'll take it.
You seem intrepid. I feel like you are willing to blaze trail through.
Yeah.
Once again, in the media department of the Grand Rapids Community College Center for Cybersecurity Studies on the 83rd floor. Sam was a little out of breath when she got up here. It's a long walk. The elevator's been out for a week. So if you have any grant funding available, the college is always looking. Sam, I wanted to have you on because you were very briefly in a class I taught for the lovely SANS Institute, of which all security people are a fan. And I heard a rumor that you might have done better on the final than I did. I was a little miffed about that. So I thought I'd bring you in and verify that that was not true.
I did pretty good. I got into the SANS Gold. What was that called again? When you get over a 90?
You get into the SANS advisory board for that particular thing. Oh, so you at least scored above 90.
I think I got a 92.
Okay, so I'll pretend like I did better than that. I'm sure I did okay. But your while we were in that class today, you told me kind of the story of how you got into your role, which is currently what?
I'm in vulnerability management at Spectrum Health.
Ooh, so you're keeping us safe from the bugs that get not into the people, but the bugs that get into the computers.
Right.
You are an alumnus of, not my fine institution, but you went to Ferris, right?
Right.
And for
computer networks and systems engineering.
Okay. And your training started sort of, you took sort of the ground up approach, right? So that's what I understand about that program. So could you tell me a little bit about where you start and where you wind up in that program?
Sure. It's an excellent program for networking. You actually start learning assembly language and machine code, and you learn C programming and then C++ as well. You also do a little bit of Python. So really you learn how programming works. You learn the logic behind it and actually what is happening on a bit by bit level. And after you do that, you really understand how programming works from the ground up. So then you it makes learning new languages so much easier. And
so basically by teaching you assembly first, they teach you that you really don't want to be a programmer because this is horrible.
I loved assembly, actually.
So you are preceded in the podcast by two guys who spend their days in assembly. We had Matt Carpenter from over at Grimm and Dr. DeMott over there at VDA, and they spend their lives debugging, reverse compiled assembly.
So is assembly like the creation of the code? Is that like what we would refer to in video production, my field, as acquisition, which is gathering like footage and material?
Not really.
No,
it's
not
its
at all.
own.
Great. Okay, that's it.
It's another programming language like Python.
It's a language. Okay, gotcha.
Well, so if you think about machines run zeros and ones, and then like humans struggle to write zeros and ones. So they took it a step up. And if you find the user manual for an Intel i86 chip of some sort, they have this manual that says these are the codes you can give to our processor to make it do things. And so like that's assembly, and it's specific to the architecture, and it's a pain in the tuchus to write. Some people love that. The Steve Gibson, who's we've talked about before, has a podcast called Security Now, and his like thing is writing x86 assembly that talks to Windows.
Gotcha. Okay.
So each one of those languages, she talked about assembly. People thought assembly was hard, so they're like, man, we should write something that's easier than this. So these dudes, Carney and Ricci, they came up and they wrote C. And that was pretty cool. And they're like, man, it would be great if we could like add some stuff in here because I hate writing the same code over and over. And then they got C++.
Okay.
It's debatable whether it's a good thing or not that the world writes things in C++. Like Google has got away from this and they're using Go for most of their stuff because there are inherent problems being as close as Sam likes to be to the bare metal of the processor. Like it means that you have to do really, really good management of memory and all that kind of stuff. And that not doing those things well keeps Sam employed, because when you have a memory problem or something like that, that's potentially a way to hack into a thing, and then you're in business and you're off and running, taking over a hospital, which is bad.
Interesting. So, but you really enjoyed learning all those programming languages?
I do. I haven't used it in my current job right now. I'm not using assembly.
You're not like in IDA day in and day out?
No.
Gotcha.
But it's a great program at Ferris there. And they also do Cisco for the first 2 years of that's for networking, and then a lot of microprocessor, digital design. So you get a really well-rounded degree.
Were there a lot of women in your classes?
No, just me. Really.
Oh, really?
For my,
most of the time it was just you.
Yeah. So there was a few in there sometimes, but I was the only one in my graduating class. And I was actually trying to do some electric engineering, trying to get the associates. But if I wanted to graduate on time, I couldn't afford to take that last class. You know, when you're already doing 18 credit hours, it adds up. So, but yeah, in both those majors, I was the only woman. So we got to find a way to get more women into these fields.
Do it, ladies.
I'm all ears. The credits probably back transfer to CC. If you really want an associate's in electrical engineering, Tom Street's got a great program right above. If you want to do, he's actually talking about, he gets complaints from we all have these advisory boards that tell us what we should be doing. And he's being asked to do less assembly and more C in his like electrical engineering classes because students with no C wind up, trying to program a microcontroller or something. And they're like, well, I just want to do knobs and things like that the processor wants to do.
I didn't know that. That's a great idea, though. Get that last associates. That is on my class ring, by the way.
Oh, so it's almost false advertising.
Yeah.
I think technically my master's is in computer information systems, and the Johnston's people didn't have CIS as an option. So I think my class ring lies and says I did computer science, which lets me blend in when I'm around the CS people. So this is another thing that's weird to me. You were like living the campus life. Like I left my house and went to school for 4 years, got an education.
Right. Ferris was just perfectly far enough away from Metro Detroit so that I could be at school and not go home every weekend, because it's way more fun just living on campus and being there and totally immersed in the campus life.
Not a thing a lot of our students get to do, including yours truly. I wanted to be in the workforce, so I never took that 4-year party.
Oh, I do regret not going to community at least for 2 years. It's more economical, and there's such great fields here to study.
When you left Detroit for Big Rapids to live at Ferris, did you have in mind what you wanted to do when you left to go do that?
I actually picked Ferris because they have a great nuclear medicine program, and that was what I was interested in at first. And then I discovered I don't like needles, which is problematic.
If you intend to pump people full of radioactive stuff, yeah.
Blood makes me woozy, so not a good field for me. And I ended up just still loving Ferris, so I decided to go in there and do the CNS major instead.
Cool. Just kind of kicked around and found what was your passion.
Actually, I looked at what was kind of guaranteed a job after graduation. I didn't really know a lot about computers and how they work before I entered that major. And that's why something like that ground up learning level approach was fantastic for me. I mean, you can go in there not knowing what RAM is or memory or storage. And you know when you get out of there everything about computers.
Was there something in your background growing up, anything that maybe, as you look back now, was kind of a hint that this is a thing that works for you?
Let's see. Well, I was always into Lego, maybe that.
Yeah.
Building, engineering, designing. But really, we were on computers so much growing up. Everyone was.
Is that a product of the Detroit schools you went to, or is that a product of your generation, you youngsters?
I would say both. We 1993, I think we had our first computer. My father was really into computers as well. So we had dial-up and we played games, Doom, Duke Nukem, things that were probably not age appropriate when we were younger, but still a blast.
There were some adult themes in Duke Nukem, if memory serves.
Something about the gratuitous violence.
And gratuitous other things, too.
Yes.
Great.
Lots of money flowing.
So that gets you started. Not everybody who goes into networking winds up in security, though. So where was the turn there?
Well, so after I graduated, I was working at AllState in Chicago, and I was doing enterprise storage engineering.
Storage area networking and network attached storage. And all that fun jazz.
So, and it really was cool. I was able to use a lot of my Linux skills with the different servers. You have to provision storage to, all types of different operating systems.
What kind of technology were you using? We used a lot of Isilon. We found that XSAN was garbage from Apple and couldn't use it. It was horrible. So what kind of... feel free to throw out vendor names. They appreciate the plug. It gets out to our dozens of listeners.
Well, we were using EMC, which is Dell EMC now.
Which once was Isilon. So
Right. So, and then we were using Hitachi. Pure Storage was what we were starting to use when I was going, right when I left there. And that was seems to be a real solid storage area too. And then besides that, we did a lot of different, we were using, you have your own switches and you have to run fiber. So that was always fun. You got to be careful not to wear a dress to work on days you have to go run fiber.
That'll get you in trouble.
Because you're like up on the ladders and ceilings and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Or
So
climbing under the drop floor. Yeah, it's not just a young woman's problem. As a young man, I had to do like a corporate thing and talk to some bossy people and wear a suit. And then, do you remember when Fifth Third ballpark caught on fire?
I heard about that.
I had to go stand in the middle of that stupid parking lot in the middle of a snowstorm and like dress slacks and dress shoes. It was not cool. And so you spend some time, you're doing storage area networking, and you're like, forget this, I'm going to go work at Spectrum Health.
Well, I really wanted to be back in Grand Rapids.
Really? So wait, Detroit, Chicago, which are kind of like the big cities around us, and then you're like, man.
So actually, I lived in Cleveland for a period of time at one of the data centers. And
you like lived in a data center? There's like a hammock in the back.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Right under the raised floor, actually.
Good place for people. The rats keep you warm.
So I went, Detroit, Big Rapids, then Cleveland, then Chicago, then Grand Rapids. And Grand Rapids is really where my heart is. I just really wanted to be back here. I love the city, and all my friends are here as well from college. And I saw a job opening in risk management at Spectrum Health. So I applied for it with no really security background besides, some of the security classes that we took at school. And I got it because a lot of security is actually being able to talk to people, making them understand how the technology works. And I was kind of able to do that in my interview, I think.
Gotcha. And writing very, very specific technical documentation.
That's true.
That communicates well to people.
Which I'm excellent at.
I've heard.
So a big part of the job is interfacing with people.
Right. It was in risk management where I was at. And so risk management, we were talking a lot to different vendors and customers that we consider customers at Spectrum Health. So if you wanted to start using a new vendor, let's say you have a new application you want to use, it's
Dr. Matic 6000.
Right. So we would talk to those vendors and say, hey, how are you securing your application? And if you're taking any data from our patients, how are we ensuring that data is secured appropriately?
Interesting. And do you think men in security versus women in security would be at a disadvantage as far as interfacing with people? Do you see that as a common trend?
Not always, actually. I've had some guys that I work with. They're fantastic at talking to people.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm a little blunt. Whereas I'll just tell people exactly how it is. This is how it works. And, you got to throw in a few pleases and a few thank yous and really spice it up. So
spice it up with,
common courtesy.
Yeah.
Politeness.
So some people are better at that than others. So
right.
Yeah, I've been putting a lot of thank yous in my emails now. I think it's just that some of the companies I've worked for too, they've been great with the male and female roles. We are all treated very equally, I find, at the companies that I've worked for. So I've been lucky.
So that's you are, I think, the first person I've talked to who has kind of like the textbook, words used intentionally, career path. Like went to college, decided I liked computers some, studied computers, got a job, got another job, boom, I'm in the workforce. And in this discipline, you're right, you won't have problem finding that next job. I was talking to the challenge scholars from Union High and trying to get those kids fired up about computing, which is easier said than done.
Really?
Oh yeah. I'm never, ever, ever, ever going to teach high school. Period. Full stop. I realize I'm tempting the fates by saying that, but like, no, sir. That's, there's a little bit of Stand and Deliver mixed with any other inspirational 80s teacher movie going on in there. Yeah. But these were guys who, and young women who had they're the first of the sort of promises from around here. So they will get 2 years of school, maybe 4, depending on when they started, and other ancillary and sundry details. But
I've done a few projects for Challenge Scholars. It's a really, really cool program, and honestly, a lot more of them should be more excited about working in computers.
Well, I tried to explain that in the LGTB framework. I realize you're committed to social justice, and that's let's get that bread, because you will get paid in this industry. There. Michigan Tech, I think, is the, on average, highest paid institution around here. So if somebody did a study on like mid-career, and it's not because Michigan Tech is the best college in the world, it's because all they crank out is engineers. So they skew the average way high. It's like 150, 160 mid-career for those graduates of those kind of programs. So that's one small way. Although even that, it seemed like hard to get kids fired up about the cash money.
Right.
Sam, if someone came to you when you were in high school and tried to get you to like be into computers, how would you have reacted to that?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't take any of the computer classes in high school or anything. I probably would have blew them off.
We couldn't get you fired up about girls who code or.
Well, if you think about it though, there are a lot of men in this industry, and men that are probably going to make a lot of money. So it is a really good field for women to get into.
Just in terms of the what's it?
Companies hoping to diversify.
No, finding a mate.
Finding a mate. Gotcha. Okay.
Okay. There was someone who said that about their time at Harvard or Yale or something. That like, ladies, look around at commencement.
Yeah.
And like. This is these are the people who will be making the hundreds of millions of dollars in this. Now would be a good time to meet somebody.
Right.
Just saying.
And I'm sure like Michigan Tech is probably great for that.
I have a very good friend of mine I go running with a lot, and he's a automotive mechanical engineer and does a lot of calculus in his day jobs kind of stuff. And he's a super nerd, but he doesnst want for toys.
Well, and way up north, probably got some lumberjacks, type, lumbersexuals. Yeah. The brownie man.
Right. I always thought he had a thing with the brawny guy, and Mr. Clean seemed to have something going on there.
Ooh, some tension.
Yeah. Yeah, this is drifted way far. So now you've landed this sweet gig in the cybers. What's your day-to-day like these days? If I get an awesome job like Sam's got, what do I do when I come into work in the morning after the coffee?
So I've only been on this job for about almost 3 months now. But what I do is if we have new servers, or like new servers are going to be implemented and installed at Spectrum Health, after they get all the applications installed, then I will do a scan on them to see if there's any vulnerabilities on it.
So like Nmap and
actually, so we use Qualys. Okay. So there's like Nessus, things like that.
Shout out to Nessus and Qualys.
Yeah. and they'll just spit out a report that shows here's all the vulnerabilities. What I do is I digest it and tell them, hey, these are the most important things. Of course, we should fix everything, but here's the ones we want to target, and here's how you fix them. Then we do it on existing servers as well, kind of like weekly scans and things like that.
Sure. And sort of prioritize and say.
Right.
And then as a security professional, you don't actually have to do any work. You just push that back to operations and say, you guys suck. You need to fix this, this, and this.
Well, we actually, we don't really do a lot of the work. They wouldn't want us going in and touching their servers anyway.
Right.
But we do a lot of research at how they can try to fix things. So that's a lot of fun sometimes when you have to find different workarounds, because with medical devices, it's been a huge problem that they're running on really old software and different operating systems. So you have to find ways to secure them and still get the job done for the patients.
And the doctors and all. I remember, I think it was Paul Asadorian tells a story about how like he has a podcast called Naked Security, and he tells a story about how like he was giving birth, his wife was giving birth to their first son, and he looks up and it's coming, and he looks up and he goes, is that Windows 95? And it probably was.
Suddenly feeling very worried about the safety of his child with Windows 95 running.
I'm pretty sure it was just professional curiosity.
Gotcha.
So what other advice might you give to a young person looking to get into the field other than study hard in high school so you can go to college and get an internship at a good place and then sweet job in security in Grand Rapids?
Well, I would say, research the actual field you're going into, like the major. Look into it. Make sure that this is the right one for you. Because if I would have there's so many different kinds of areas to get into, like security. You can do more business side security. You can do more engineering. It depends on what you want. But if you go into a field that's more businessy, that's the kind of job you're going to get out of it. So make sure you do your research there. But yeah, study hard. You don't need sleep, just study.
And you said you were doing 18 credit hours a semester?
Right. Yeah. So with socializing, it's like you can socialize, you can sleep, or you can study, pick two. And so I just didn't sleep at all.
Yeah, it's a hard thing, I think, to explain to people who are in high school and about to go to college. I know I wouldn't have gotten it. I didn't get it. This weird balance of you want to spend your time studying and learning things and doing well in college and focusing on getting your career going and doing well in your career, but you also want to have fun, like with your friends at that time, right? It's prime time to have fun. But also, if you study hard enough and work hard enough and do well enough, when you're out of that and you got your career going, not only do you have more time to have fun, but you've got, the money and resources to have like the best kind of fun. Right. And so it's a hard thing to express, like, just wait, just hold on, you'll be there soon, and then you can party hard, Drew, you look like you're sort of disagreeing.
So I had the atypical experience, at least at this table, in that I didn't bother to get a degree until it took me 10 years to get my degree from CC, because this is, a generation before you youngsters, but there just was there wasn't like there weren't a lot of CIS, or there were old MIS programs out there. So the kind of work businesses needed done, networking and security and systems administration, server administration, that kind of business, they just weren't great programs out there for it. And I kind of got scooped up into it because I was a kid at a basically like a Best Buy Geek Squad kind of role, and did a little consulting, had a little side hustle. And one of my side hustles turned into, how would you like to work for a Fortune 500 newspaper company for the next 15 years? And so like the partying had to coexist with my career path.
And not everybody's into partying. I don't mean to say that that's the only way. That's the only way to have fun, because it's definitely not. But
you can socialize in other ways, right?
Right, exactly. That's what I mean. Yeah.
Play D&D or whatever you want to do, right? Yeah. But also, I would say, I know this is going to sound geeky, but use your library. I was so shocked.
That really is geeky.
When I was at Ferris, at how good their library was. A lot of the teachers I had were actually using books that were found in the library. So if you go there, you're able to like find textbooks, other sources for material, but also talking to the teachers, using the office hours. There were so many things that
you're cutting into my nap time here. If students start showing up during office hours, they're going to wake me.
Sometimes you need that time though, right? And it's just silly. If it's there for you, use it.
I totally agree. I'm always regretful that I didn't spend more time, like actually pulling my professors aside and saying, hey, I don't get this, or I want to know more about that. But time's of the essence. I get that too.
Yeah, I would reiterate that. I got my master's at Ferris, and in my master's, a lot of it had to do with research, and the library there was fantastic. So yeah, big plug for Ferris Library and the GRCC library, grcc.edu/library. Same kind of resources, same kind of people. It's great.
Good stuff. So on that exciting library note, I would like to thank you, my gentle listener, for yet another exciting episode of Defeasible Reasoning. Please like, subscribe, mash the like button. Is that what the kids say now?
Smash, I think.
Samurai slice the like button is what Corey X. Kenshin likes to say. My personal favorite YouTuber. Thank you very much to our guests. Thank you very much to our executive producer. And thank you, dear listener, for tuning in yet again. Defeasible Reasoning is produced at the Epic Studios of Grand Rapids Community College Media Technologies Department. Epically executive produced by Noah D. Smith and hosted by me, Drew Rosen.